We're back for more Back Points, here with one of the most recent 6A state champs, David Bragg, winner of the state title at 120 pounds in 2020. He's one of the superstars of Oscar Smith's state champion team and signed to wrestle for George Mason University in Northern Virginia. I was really impressed with David's determination, work ethic, great personality, as well as his ability to grow by leaps and bounds in a short period of time as a wrestler. As always, please rate and leave a review for this podcast, especially on iTunes, because it helps us get visibility for the show and for our sport. And get in touch with us if you want to suggest a guest who can talk about their journey to a state championship. Now let's get rolling.
He taught me to get up when I didn't want to get up, when I wanted to quit.
I had high goals, man. I've always had high goals.
And so when I won it, I was just kind of like, oh my gosh, you guys are right.
It's not the thrill of winning. It's the joy of having that personal goal and being able to achieve that and walk off the mat with your head held high and with your hand up.
That just fueled my fire, and I was in every state championship match from there on until I graduated.
That was when I really started doing the kind of wrestling that I was capable of.
Anybody that steps in the ring and just decides to commit the entire time is a state champion in my book.
Welcome back to another episode of Back Points, the podcast where top wrestlers reveal their secrets about how they won state titles in high school wrestling. Today, we've got a great guest, the most recent winner of the 6A state title at 120 pounds for Oscar Smith, and he recently signed to wrestle at George Mason University. We're sitting down to talk with David Bragg. David, thank you for joining us.
No problem, man. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
So you've had a pretty good year this year, haven't you?
Yeah, it's a pretty good season. We hit up some tough tournaments. Placed at Escape the Raw. I lost in the blood round. A couple of mistakes I made. But overall, it was definitely a good season.
Yeah, so to summarize your season, you won the state title. You were signed to George Mason on a scholarship. Any other notable things this year?
Wrestling. School. My GPA was going up. I was at like a 3.4, 3.5. It got up to about a 3.7. So besides that, I just been training hard, just trying to achieve my goals this past year.
I think I saw that you graduated with honors from high school.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Correct.
That's fantastic.
Thank you.
So I want to start maybe by asking you about goal setting. Was it a goal of yours to win a state title?
Yes. That was really when I got to high school, when I found out about because I started wrestling in middle school. So when I really got to high school, that was really one of my first goals. I just wanted to win a state title because I seen the older kids do it.
Mm-hmm. Did you start in the 6th grade?
I started in 8th grade.
Okay, nice. And then you were introduced to Coach Motley 9th grade.
Well, no, I met Coach Motley in my 8th grade year. I came to like a practice or two before like our season had ended, and he was just telling me, yeah, man, you're gonna be real good when you get to high school and everything. So I couldn't wait for it.
He was right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was the middle school program like? Was it a tough program?
Well, not really. Our middle school program, like our coach, he was a pretty good coach, but I mean, we had a couple like placers at the city tournament and all. And besides that, I mean, it wasn't as bad.
Mm-hmm. So then once you get to Oscar Smith, I imagine, I've talked to Coach Motley, and I know he doesn't take it easy on you guys.
Yeah, not at all. Even for the new guys, he might run a practice or two that's not as hard, and then after that, once they start, getting used to it, that's when he starts to pick up the pace on the practices.
So would you divide the room between the newest guys and maybe the JV guys and then the varsity guys?
Yeah, he would used to do that, but like recently, these past couple years, he just mixed us together. Being that we like our guys started to get older and older, he just started to trust us as far as teaching the young kids technique and everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
so in terms of the scholarship and going to George Mason, was that also a goal?
Yeah, my goal was to definitely take wrestling to the next level. Like I felt like as I got better and better every year, I felt like I was able to, stick with, best guys in the country.
Yeah,
I felt like I was on that level.
So what was the role of going to these other tournaments? Because, you went to Escape the Rock, you went, I think you went to some other tournaments that were really competitive, harder in a lot of ways than the state tournament. What was it like going to those tournaments? Did it raise your confidence level?
Yeah, going to those tournaments, a lot of guys, they don't get the results they want. But I feel like when I was there, I just had something to prove, and it just made me more confident that I was going to win the state title that season. So it definitely helped me out a lot.
Yeah,
wrestling the best guys in the country. So it was definitely a blessing. I was glad to go to those tournaments.
So one thing that I like about you and your story is, you started out. So I started out. My first year wrestling was in 9th grade, and so I had to progress through high school before I was able to be really competitive by the end. And I think that from what I can tell, you really made a ton of progress from your 9th grade year to your senior year.
Yeah.
So can you tell me a little bit about that? So, your freshman year, how'd freshman year go?
Freshman year, it was a blur. I was playing football because I grew up playing football. So I continued playing football through 9th grade. And, I wasn't really happy with my results for football. So I was going to wrestle regardless. But, it was just a choice of me choosing only wrestling or just still playing football and wrestling. Coach Molly had talked to me. He was telling me, man, you're going to go somewhere wrestling. So, I took his word for it. And my freshman year, it was just a blur. It was more me. I got some varsity matches in and stuff, tournaments and everything, but I wasn't the starter. I didn't start my freshman year.
And then your sophomore year, I think you did start.
Yeah, I was my sophomore year. I became the starter. I beat the kid that I lost to and Russell lost my freshman year. I ended up beating him. I ended up surpassing him, just working hard all summer and everything. And but I didn't go to states that year.
Mm-hmm.
I was projected. I was projected to place in states, but I didn't even go to states.
It's tough to qualify.
Yeah, it was definitely tough.
So then, what about junior year?
Junior year, I ended up bumping up a weight class. I went to 113. I couldn't really make 106 anymore, so I started to get bigger and everything. Went to Fargo that summer. I got better and everything. So it was just I was confident, and I wrestled a good season. Junior year, I lost some matches I wasn't supposed to lose, but heading into a postseason, I tweaked it up a little bit. And honestly, when I made it to states my junior year, I didn't see myself as making it to the finals. I seen myself as honestly just placing like top 4, top 5.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't honestly see myself making it to the finals, and it just came up.
And then your senior year, you went in, and I think it was a little different.
Yeah, senior year, I just went in. I knew I was going to win the state title. I was very confident. I knew I was getting better and better every year, every practice. After every practice, I was working hard, watching a lot of film every day, and it was just I just had the confidence.
If you could pick one thing that you did to go between 9th grade and 12th grade, maybe off-season training or going to camps or watching videos, what do you think? If you could pick just one thing that really moved you from one level to that next level, what do you think it might be?
I feel like watching film, just reevaluating yourself, just seeing what mistakes you made between every match and now, that probably helped me a lot as far as getting better and better.
Yeah. I think guys who watch film, you really see things that you would never, you would never be able to see in yourself as you're wrestling. You can be told how to do a move, you can be corrected, but watch, an hour of film, maybe, people who you don't wrestle with, people out of state, maybe college wrestling or international wrestling, you really see things that you just can't really learn from other, in other ways, I think.
Yeah. Film definitely helps a lot. definitely.
So what kind of a strength program did you guys, would you do? Did you, do a lot of lifting in the off season, I imagine?
From freshman year, from the end of freshman year, because I was still little, I was like weighing about 107, so I started to get a little bigger. Because at first I was around 90 pounds, so it was crazy wrestling 106. I was way underweight, but towards the end of the year, like after like states and everything, we just started lifting a lot, and I got bigger. And Coach Malu was telling me like I could see you as a big 106 next year, making a lot of noise, and I listened to him.
Yeah.
So I basically did a lot of lifting like throughout the years. I was just lifting a lot, getting stronger.
Yeah, I know, for me, one of the things that made a big difference was ropes. Because we always did rope climbing, but I remember between junior and senior year, I could just go up and down the ropes as many times as I wanted with no legs, and just kind of, do that nonstop. And my hand strength, my pulling muscles, my lats, all that higher level. I mean, that was really big for me.
Yeah, for me, it was more of like squats and bench press a lot, because if I wasn't really as strong at first coming into high school, you know, um, so that definitely helped me out a lot as far as gaining weight.
Yeah, I'm a big believer that you don't have to do everything great. You need to do one or two things and just be really good on them. So for me, like, maybe for me it was, my lats and pulling muscles. Maybe for you it was legs, explosive, power. Because I could tell you had a really strong, you had really powerful shots, and I think people had a lot of trouble stopping you.
Yeah, it was more. I definitely worked on my calves a lot. At home, I would do like extra sit ups, push ups, and everything, squats on my own, just trying to perfecting my craft and everything, just getting better.
So are you excited about George Mason?
Yeah, it's gonna be I'm definitely excited. It's a good journey for me.
Yeah, I mean it's it's a crazy time right now, and who knows exactly what things are going to look like. But I mean, it's awesome for you to be to have the to be able to go out and actually you're going to be. So I'm up here in Falls Church, so I'm I'm pretty close to George Mason, so I think it's great that you're able to come up and I think. It's a fantastic program, great coaching. Have you thought about? Do you know anything about the team?
Yeah, we had some Zoom calls. We have Zoom calls every Thursday, so I joined that Zoom call. We'll talk about our goals and everything. Just talk about how the season will go and everything. So I'm very excited for that. It's a new journey for me.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Do you know what you want to study? You gonna wait on that, or any ideas?
Yeah, computer engineering. I'm very interested in that. I'm good with math, so it's definitely what I want to do.
So, what about like nutrition? Was that something that you thought about much when you were when you were wrestling in high school? Did you plan out meals and think really much about your nutrition?
Well, it's funny because at first I never cut weight, but like my sophomore year, cutting weight was hard for me because I wasn't really used to it. But this past year, like my senior year, I definitely started eating way healthier because it was just bad weight cuts for me, and I felt like I couldn't really let that affect my performance, especially now or in the future. So I had to build a habit of eating healthy and having a good nutrition and everything.
That's great. Yeah, that's great. So I did the same thing in high school. Starting my junior, maybe my senior year, I was eating very healthy, and back then, it was a little, it's like some years back, and so back then we were allowed to cut weight in certain ways that aren't really that healthy, and really, it's good that we're not. There are more rules around it, but but when you're losing any weight, it's good. You want to make sure you're getting the right energy in, so that you're able to have the right kind of output. So, did you have a favorite tournament?
Favorite tournament? Favorite tournament. I would probably say Fargo because it was a good experience, not only for learning, but fun out there. I had a lot of fun out there. Building a bond with my teammates. It was just definitely fun. So yeah, I have to go Fargo.
Yeah. And then you wrestled pretty much year round starting sophomore year, was it? Or did you wrestle year round even freshman year?
Yeah, freshman year was definitely it's well during football season I would because our games, because I played on junior varsity, so our games would be on Thursdays. On Fridays I was in the wrestling room training.
Yeah.
So it was just
And then did you do football in sophomore, junior, senior? You stopped that after freshman year?
Yeah, I stopped after freshman year. I just felt like I wasn't going to go anywhere with that. So I felt like wrestling was just going to take me far, and I was already in love with wrestling anyways. So
yeah, I was just talking to a state champ from Great Bridge who he could have gotten a scholarship to play baseball or to wrestle, and but he had a couple injuries to his pitching arm and all that, and at one point he just had to make a choice. He said, "All right, I'm gonna just do wrestling."
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm glad I chose that early on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad I chose it early on. I felt like if I would have kept playing football, I probably wouldn't have been as good at wrestling or have been getting as better.
Well, yeah, I think that's very smart of you. I mean, if a lot of times people spread themselves too thin.
Yeah.
They spend a lot of time on something. And it's like if you just put a little more energy into that one thing, you end up accomplishing your dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, is your family excited about George Mason?
Yeah, definitely. They were definitely excited when I won a state title. It was kind of because my parents, they were there at regionals when I won regionals, but they weren't able to make it up there to Fairfax. But so it was pretty exciting for them.
Yeah, I bet it was. I bet they were very. I think I saw some pictures. They looked very proud.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, if you were going to give any advice to high schoolers who wanna reach a state title, what might be something you'd tell somebody who's a freshman who wants to accomplish that goal? What's something you might tell them?
Keep working hard. Stay motivated. Be a leader in your room. Definitely. Never stay off the grind. Just don't stay focused. Because it's easy to get out of tack and everything. And don't get discouraged. I mean, you can win a state title, but you can lose matches, and you can lose matches too. So just stay focused.
I think that's great advice. That's great advice. I think a lot of people get too concerned with their record. They want a perfect record. They want to, they don't want any blemishes. And, the fact is you go somewhere tough. If you've got an totally undefeated record, maybe that's because you're the greatest wrestler ever, but maybe it's also because maybe it's because you haven't had enough competition.
Definitely. Another thing I would say too. Don't shy away from wrestling some of the best guys, because you can definitely improve. It's gonna help you. I mean, you're gonna lose matches. It's not gonna win every match. So it's definitely a good thing to go to these good hard tournaments. See where you're at. See where you're at getting better, and you're gonna improve.
Yeah. Oh, and I forgot to ask, did you do any wrestling camps? Did you go out? Did you do any? I know you wrestled year round, but did you go to any college camps, anything like that?
Besides Virginia Tech camp, before Fargo, not really.
Yeah.
It was more just preseason wrestling.
Yeah, I think my perspective is you can as long as it's year round, I think you can get great wrestling almost anywhere.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to go to, I'm looking forward to going to the George Mason Patriot Center. I want to watch you wrestle. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Definitely keep up on the grind.
Well, I really appreciate you joining us here. This is great. I know a lot of high school kids are going to be watching this and want to, they want to learn from somebody who's come before them. And I think you really shared a lot of good stuff.
Thank you for having me up here. Thank you.
Thank you, my man.
All right, man.
All right.
No problem. No problem. Have a nice day.
Thanks for listening to Back Points today. If you want to support the show, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever else you find the show. Also, it helps us if you give the show a rating on Apple Podcasts and leave a review. Feel free to also make a donation via Patreon at patreon.com/backpoints. Thanks, and see you next episode.